Welcome to the first presentation of Mr. Chantry's This Is How We Do It.
This is how we do it.
So, today we're going to be taking a look at the metric system that we've been exploring with a little bit in class. The base units that we've been working with here in class, we're going to call them our bases. This would be our meters, our grams, and our liters. Our meters for measuring length, our grams for measuring mass, and our liters for measuring volumes. For today's purposes, we're just going to use our meters to make it easy, so we're not using all three at once. Now, there are 6 different prefixes and their abbreviations that you need to know in order to look at the metric system and be able to convert between different units. Okay? There are 3 prefixes to the left of the base that make it bigger, and 3 to the right that make it smaller. The 3 to the left are deca, hecto, and kilo. Kilo is abbreviated with a lowercase k, hecto with a lowercase h, and deca with a lowercase dk. That's going to be an important one to remember. Now let's talk about what each one of these prefixes means. Deca simply means 10. So, if I have a decameter, that means I have 10 meters. Hecto means 100. So, if I have a hectometer, that means I have 100 meters. And finally, kilo, which means 1,000. If I have a kilometer, or kilometer, as it's more commonly pronounced, I have 1,000 meters. So, those are our bigger prefixes. Let's look at our smaller ones. Our smaller ones are deci, which is abbreviated with a lowercase d, centi, which is abbreviated with a lowercase c, and milli, which is abbreviated with a lowercase m. Now, 2 things that you're going to watch out for are, first, this deca and deci. Notice the difference between the abbreviations in the 2 of these. The last thing you want to look out for is this lowercase m in milli. Remember that a prefix never stands alone. So when you see just a single lowercase m on a worksheet, that's indicating meters. If it was millimeters, it would be lowercase m, lowercase m. So just watch out for those. Know the difference between deca and deci and their abbreviations, and know that a single lowercase m by itself is for meters, and it would be 2 lowercase m's for millimeters. Now, let's see how this will apply to what we're doing in class and how this helps us. If you notice, each one of these, as we move from 10 to 100 to 1,000, or 1/10th, 100th, and 1,000th. Notice how I'm making a very big exaggeration on the th of all these, so you realize that it's a fraction. 1/10th, 100, a decimeter is 1/10th of a meter. A millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. Now, if we look ahead, when we get on a test, I would recommend highly that you write this down here. If you notice, this is just the first letters in all of our abbreviations with our base. So we have kilo, hecto, deca, base, deci, centi, and milli. Now, this might seem like a lot to remember. As we practice with it more, it will become a little bit easier to remember. Now we've come up with a little mnemonic to help us remember how to write these letters down first. Once you write the letters down, you can go on from there. So, the mnemonic that we use is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Now, this should help you. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. You say it over and over a couple times, and you'll remember it. Then, as soon as you get a test, you can write down your KHDBDCM by remembering that King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Now, if you turn to the page in your packet where we practice the metric conversions, I've copied the first 6 problems onto this presentation so that we can go over it with you, and hopefully if you're struggling with your homework at home, you can take a look at this, and hopefully it'll will help you work with that. So, in this example, we're working with 4 kilometers, and we want to find out how many meters that equals. Remember, this is not millimeters, this is our base unit of meters. So, we want to convert from kilometers into meters. There's an easy way to do this since the metric system is based in 10. So we're starting in kilometers, and we want to end up in our base unit, which is meters. If we look, this is 1, 2, 3 jumps to get from kilo to our base unit of meters. 3 jumps. Another important thing to notice is that we're going from left to right. Now, how this can be useful, if we take our 4 kilometers and we take our 4, you have to think of 4 as being a 4.000000. We can add as many zeros after the decimal as we want, and we can add as many zeros in front of a number that we want, and it doesn't change its value at all. So I suggest when you write down numbers, before you figure out what you're going to do, surround it with zeros. Okay? Now, what we're going to do, since up here in this example, we went from kilo and we hopped 1, 2, 3 to the right. All we're going to do is take our decimal point, and we're going to do the same thing with it. We're going to hop 3 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right, and we're going to put it in there. That would give us a final answer of 4,000 meters. Did you catch that? You get it? Let's try another example. Let's move on to the second problem. In this problem, we're going from decimeters. We have decimeters. Remember, this is the thing where it's confusing. You have to remember. Lowercase d is deci. Deca would be a lowercase d and a lowercase k. So we're going from deci to our base unit of meters. So let's take a look at this up here. We're going from deci to our base unit of meters. To do this, all we're doing is jumping 1 place, and that is going to the left. It's always important to remember which way you're jumping because your decimal point needs to move in that same direction. So, 13, as we know, is the same as 13.000000, and we can put as many zeros in front of the 13 as we like to. It doesn't change the value of the 1 in the tens place, the 3 in the ones place. We still have a 13. So we're going to take our decimal point, and we're going to move it 1 space, just like we did up here. 1 space, and we're going to the left. So we're going to take that 1 space, we're going to go to the left, and we're going to put in our decimal point there. That would give us a final answer of 1 3/10 meters. So, that conversion showed us that 13 decimeters is the same as 1 3/10 meters, or 1.3 meters. Now, I'd like to give you an opportunity to do one on your own, and then we can check your work. So let's move on to question number 3. Here, I'm asking you to convert 445 millimeters into meters. So why don't you go ahead and try it yourself, and I'll check back in with you, and we'll see how you do. I'll give you a little play music. Okay, so let's see how you made out. In this one, we're going from millimeters, because that has the 2 lowercase m's, and we want to convert it to our base units in meters. To do that, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 places. And we always want to remember which direction we're going. We're going from milli to the left. So let's take our 445. You can think of it as 445.000, and zeros can go in the front or the back of it. We're going to take our decimal point, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3 places to the left in the same direction that we moved on our little chart up there. And that gives us a final answer of 0.445 meters, or 445 thousandths of a meter. 445 millimeters is equal to 0.445 meters. Now I wish you success with the rest of these. You can take a look if you're not in my class and you're just finding this on the interwebs. You can take a look at these other problems and give yourself a little challenge and see if you can do those conversions. Hopefully this helped you understand a little bit more how to do conversions in the metric system. I think it's much easier than the imperial system, and I hope you enjoyed it.